Welcome to episode 243 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording on July 21st, 2024. My name is Jeff. I'm the host of the show tonight. Eric is out on a little vacation with his family for the weekend. I'm based in Central Ontario. I'm a target shooter, ham radio operator, general overall handyman, and weather nerd.
I'm very disappointed in Eric for prioritizing his family over the podcast, but
Well, how dare he?
I guess we'll let it slide. My name is Ian. I'm a homesteader on Vancouver Island who constantly ruins his own OPSEC by coming on here and talking about finer details.
And I'm Brad. I'm in Eastern Ontario, part-time amateur prepper, constantly trying to better myself.
And I'm Terry. I live in sunny Central Ontario. I'm a starving indie author, the official grand poobah of the annual Preppers Meet, a terrible hunter, pathetic fisherman, but a proud Ford owner.
Why?
I'm Gavin. I'm a first aid and firearms instructor with Ragnarok Tactical and the commander of operations for my local search and rescue team here in the greater Toronto area, although I'm not sure what makes it so great.
Awesome. Want to help support the show? Buy some swag. We have both the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the Tactical Velcro patch at www.prepperpodcast.ca. All the proceeds help cover our podcast costs.
And if you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and submit a review wherever you found us. We want your feedback, even if it's bad. So even if you don't enjoy the show, send some feedback. We also invite you to reach out and tell us about something you learned this week. You can email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
So we have some meeting content for you this episode. We're going to start off with some relevant news, update our personal preps, and then we're going to get into the main topic, the annual Preppers Meet Debrief. So you got some news, Ian?
Yeah, so BC fire season's on the go now. 300 currently burning across the province, and biggest one I think is near Kamloops right now. I think it's like about a couple thousand acres on the go, and there's evacuation orders in about 20 or 30 towns right now, like evacuation alerts at least, so the people are expected to be packed up, ready to go in within an hour. So that's a thing.
Of those 300, how many do you think are natural fires?
Well, yeah,
not to put a tinfoil hat on it.
Yeah, funny you should ask that, because up until this point, there's been arson charges for the vast majority of it. But even with the story, I will concur that of the 300 currently burning, I think, what's it, like 200 started in the last couple of days because of lightning throughout the province. And like there was legit lightning strikes, so I mean, I think it could actually be a thing. But yeah, they were early in the season, they were all arson. That was all confirmed with charges being laid against many people. So trying to push that agenda, whether or not they have to actually like manually adjust.
Well, there you go. Nature's trying to catch up to the man-made ones, I guess.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I checked probably 5 days ago, and there weren't that many fires. Like, there's not, considering how dry things were in the winter and the lack of snow and all that, I figured we'd have a really, really bad forest fire season. And it, honestly, I mean, any fire is a bad fire, but it hasn't been that bad, really.
Yeah, I'll consider the big heat spell we just had. We were really good until this last set of storms, but they all kind of did their thing the last couple of days and started up a bunch. So, also some flooding in Toronto, which I'm sure Gavin can pitch in on as well. But some severe thunderstorms going on in Ontario. I saw younger Andrew from the other podcast, and his neighborhood was quite inundated, and I think his basement was flooded and a bunch of stuff. So.
He, I guess he lives not far from me, so a little bit further outside of the GTA. Like the road in front of his house shifted.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. On top of all of the other flooding. And then a little bit north of him, there were areas that got evacuated. Meanwhile, my area was like, we certainly got rain and a fair bit of it. And then where my house is, and even where my office was, I mean, at work, we had some leaks in the roof, but I mean, our building is 30-something years old, and it's the original roof, and like, you know, it's a flat roof. So not
people that did the Science Center, Gavin.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. But like, you know, it's a flat roof, so it's really not the best when you get a whole lot of water. But like, aside from a few leaks here and there, we were fine and nothing. But then even, you know, just not far away from there was definitely be flooding. So yeah, the whole area was washed away almost.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
guys
well,
were
I was down at my mom's trailer just outside of London, and on Monday, it torrentially rained for about I'm going to say 3.5 hours. And the trailer park is in obviously a bit of a lower spot, and there's a creek and everything there. Well, it washed out the roads. They're just gravel. It washed out the roads. About 7 or 8 people that were in the tented area were in about a foot of water, so they were done. Yeah, it was interesting. My mom's been at that park for 30 years, and she said she's never seen it that bad.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty harsh for sure.
Yeah.
Jeff, you got
Well,
something?
Yeah, I've got. I had one about the flooding, but that's okay, taken care of. But for people who've been living under a rock, we've had that crowd strike outage. It's been going on. What is it now, guys? Into day 3 now, I believe.
Yeah, and I think there's a patch that came out that fixed most of it, but even over the UK, they're still canceling flights and a bunch of other stuff too because they just can't seem to get their stuff kind of.
Wow, I mean,
Well,
that's it's a lot
Somebody
of computers,
said to
right?
me, and I'm not a computer guy at all. Eric can tell you that. But something about the patch come out or the fix came out, but in order to patch the fix, they have to manually go into the computer, uninstall the patch that is bad, and then reinstall the new one. They can't do it remotely.
Yeah. So I mean, just the sheer number of computers is going to take some time to get to them all. So
if you could imagine 2 interns or probably co-op students or something probably came up with this patch, and for the sake of a couple people with some bad, a couple lines of bad code, they basically bricked millions of computers around the world. It's amazing what a couple people with bad ideas can do, right? So
and it makes me kind of laugh that, well, not laugh, but I mean, they're pushing this digital currency, yet all over the place were signs, cash only,
cash only.
Where
how quickly they've forgotten that cash is how you spread the COVID.
and amazingly enough, though, like I was thinking that they, nowadays with a major outage like this, they wouldn't take cash, thinking they was going to script their inventory, but nope, they didn't care. Ordering systems and inventory be damned, we'll take cash, which is good. It's definitely a good thing for sure.
Yep. There's a small town up by where Eric's parents live, and they only have one grocery store, and it's been closed for 3 days because they can't get their registers to work. So everybody's got to drive to the next town over if they want to get any groceries or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, there's that Steven Crowder meme out there that's basically saying, if you go cashless and the system crashes, there's no way to prove you ever had any cash.
It's true.
That is true. Yep.
So before they start talking about CBDCs and everything else, I think they should probably get their software house in order. But just my 2 cents anyway.
Well, and I mean, just.
But is it digital 2 cents or actual 2 cents?
Ooh.
0.02, we'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, your internet inches and internet dollars are about the same value there. That works, I think.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Terry, you got something for us?
Terry,
you're muted.
You're muted, my friend.
Quite muted. And I don't even think he's listening to us anymore.
Hello, Terry.
Can't.
There you go.
I go.
Better start over.
It seems at long last that Joe Biden has finally woken up to the fact that he's unfit to run for the next U.S. presidential election. Who knew, right? Is this just news for anybody?
It's not news for anybody but him.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he had to celebrate International Ice Cream Day somehow.
It's true. But the good news is he'll probably have forgotten about this by tomorrow, and he'll just keep going, right? So.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
You'll wake up in the morning and say, "What happened?"
Yeah,
I know.
Which is a horrible thing. I went through a family member that had dementia. It was really, really bad, and but what they've done to him and allowed him to go this far is terrible. Really.
What blows my mind though is even like this morning, like literally early this morning, there was one of his campaign people was on a news program and literally said, "No, we're continuing the campaign no matter what." And not even an hour later, he puts out that release. So, like, what happened in that last hour?
Like,
what happened since he was declared unfit for trial because he's not mentally competent meant that he can continue to run the country. And this isn't like whether you agree with his politics or not. I don't care what politician it is.
No.
If they decide that you are unfit mentally to stand trial, you are unfit mentally to be in the position of running a country, even a small country, or the janitorial department of said country. Like,
But again, and amazing how the media was completely like, unaware of this entire situation until that debate. And then all of a sudden, just like everybody had knives out. All of a sudden, it was like, you didn't notice before now? Like, I mean,
well,
the scary part is nobody, like, and everybody's backing this guy. And like, are you 400 million people in the doggone country and you don't know what's going on? Like, holy crow. That's the best you can do is old Sleepy Joe. Poor old Joe, like, but still, how could they keep pushing this poor bugger and doing that? Like, it's
those two people were the least good candidates 8 years ago, and they haven't got better. It's only gotten worse.
Wow, it's just scary. Anyway, we flogged that one.
Well,
we haven't seen the end of it yet, though. So
it's like WWF politics.
How this goes.
Well,
yeah.
And so you're right. We haven't seen the end. It'll be interesting. You want my honest opinion on something? I don't think the attempt on Trump's life is going to be the last one. But we're just going down a whole rabbit hole there. That's the Monday night show. That's Gavin's show.
Yeah. That's like and not even mine. We mostly deal with the Canadian side. We'll have to revive some friend of ours podcasts where we talk more about the American side of it. But
all right. Well, let's move on to what we've done lately for preps. Brad?
Nothing. I have been too busy to do much else. My my truck broke down the day we got back from the APM. And so I was working at that some nights over the week and just other things. And then the week before, getting ready to go down to the preppers meet. And I haven't done much. So I will say, though, this weekend, I've caught up a bit, done some grass work, did some cleaning up, made a dump run. Other than that, just normal stuff. Nothing extra.
Yeah. Good. I did some fuel rotation. I picked up a couple trailer loads of firewood, so I've been working away, cutting and splitting them. I made a very dangerous trip with Eric to Radio World. I picked up an antenna for the truck. I was able to stay within my budget only because my bank account was empty. So
good job.
I picked a good time to go. I got what I needed, and it worked out. So that was good.
Yeah, that trip is double dangerous. So it's dangerous on the wallet because you might buy all the stuff. It's also dangerous because you might get stuck talking to some of those people there for hours about some of the most boring things ever.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah,
and you got to drive by a couple sporting goods stores on the way home too. So what antenna did you get for your truck?
Just a actually, it was right.
See, this is what I talked about. You get stuck having
conversations. No, it's all right. We're going to talk about the SPB5 in a second. I knew it.
It's a SS460 an NMO. That's the connector. So picked it up for $60.
Nice.
Well, see how it works.
Looking forward to the review on that one for sure. All right, as for myself, stacking some wood up for the winter. So thanks to this hot weather we've had lately, I've had a few days of non-rain for once. So the wood got dried off. And managed to start putting the woodshed together and putting the kindling and everything back into the proper place, getting ready for winter there. Charged up batteries all around the Doomstead. So whether it be the ham radios that had been sitting in the closet or whatever, the drones, everything, like the battery backups, just everything kind of needed to charge up. Kind of do that 4 times a year versus twice a year for the smoke detectors, just to make sure everything's all topped up. Did a spot for the Free to Fly group that were interested in the basics of preparedness. So there was a a group that's more about body autonomy than anything else. But yeah, so the vaccine concerned people. So, anyways, I talked to them online. Fantastic interaction with the leader of that group, and they wanted to get us some basics of preparedness, which is good. But it's kind of funny because about 5 minutes into the interview, he mentions life straws. He says, "Yeah, so life straws. That's a thing we should get, eh?" And I was like, "Did you talk to Eric ahead of time, or what's going on here?" But I was actually kind of laughing.
Did you start to twitch a little bit?
A little bit. I just started laughing. I was like, "Wow, you just hit the sore spot right off the bat." And no, he was completely innocent, but it was just something he had heard of, right? And so we talked about that, and because basically
the marketing is on point, right? Like,
oh, exactly. Like, I mean, considering, like, I'm not saying like you have to be an autiste to get into water filtration, but I mean, if you don't know anything else and you don't have a whole lot of money, you don't have a whole lot of background knowledge, it is a good product, absolutely. Like, obviously it's got shortcomings and limited life and everything else, but if you're just getting into it, yeah, it works. So I didn't actually poo-poo it that much. Anyways, but
Ian was a good boy.
yeah, I was a very good boy, and it's true because I mean, water is one of the things I wanted to focus on. Because I'm going to focus on like three things, right? Is like water storage, like keeping your gas tank above half, and just storing what you eat basically, and a little bit of cash on hand maybe if you're feeling lucky, which came in handy with this whole CrowdStrike thing because we were just talking about that. And I said, it's a great idea to have some cash on hand just to cover basics of, maybe basic expenses for a few months at the ideal situation.
Mhm.
And yeah, not even the next day the CrowdStrike thing happened, so it worked out really well. Anyways, yeah, it was a good interaction. Got to pump the podcast a bit. Other than that, I did some feed runs for chicken feeds. The babies are growing up quite nicely now. I think we've had our first spring chicken there start to lay, so that's good. Bit of gas rotation going on. Yes, I did do some gun post deals because screw CGN and their new website that I don't like very much. And that's pretty much it, I think. Just odds and ends, but I mean, it's hard to keep track. I haven't been home a whole lot lately, so.
I'm gonna say
So
it's a slow week
this
for you.
FTF group, do they do a podcast as well, or?
They did a couple, not a whole lot, but they basically got a website. They do meetups and they do a couple other things.
Oh, okay.
They're mostly on Instagram and Facebook and a couple other things, but during a couple of meetings, they sometimes have like Zoom calls going on. And we were trying to do a Zoom call with one of the dinners they had, but just the timing could never work out. Either I was out working or he was out working or whatever. And so we just kind of decided to do a pre-recorded thing that you could play at the next meeting. And also because of this whole COVID lockdown thing and everything else, I think a lot of people were concerned after the toilet paper runs and everything else that, they wanted some like non-hyperbolic advice. And so they went to us because, as some other people that are out there on YouTubes and the internets tend to pump fear and then try to sell a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ian, if you want to like crap talk my podcast, you can just name it, right?
Okay, I'm sorry, buddy. I was trying to be polite, but Anyway,
that's good.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much it for me, though.
Nice. I've been kind of all over the place and haven't been on for a while, so I don't want to recap everything because then it'll even be longer than a furlot. What I've done in week or guns this week thing, it'll take up the entire podcast. But one of the biggest things, I picked up one of those 60-watt folding solar panels, and that thing was fantastic. I was off in Utah when Ontario was having the crazy heat wave. I was down in Utah camping out in the desert, and I had that thing to charge my phone and charge the fan that I had in my tent that was keeping me nice and cool for sleeping, and all of the things. And like that thing was just awesome. I also had it out at the prepper meet sitting on top of my car, also charging my fan for my tent because it was warm, and the phone and all of the other things that I needed. And just in general increase, stored food and water supply. On the Sunday of the preppers meet, I snuck off to the baseboard in there and was doing some shooting. We were practicing our target practice at 400-ish yards, so that was good. Also picked up a new rifle, and I'm talking about it because I may as well, because with the new backdoor gun registry, everyone else already knows about it that I wouldn't want to know about it anyways. So yeah, but it'll let me shoot more at a distance for less money. So
Always good.
yeah,
Save $1.
well, and it's nice and light, and I'm hoping to use it in competition. So for those that want to get into it, the Ontario Rifle Association has service rifle starting up again in August. So if you want to do a 500-yard rundown on some targets, look for the links on Practice Score for that. Join the URA, come shoot guns. It's a fun time.
But get something that shoots small rifle primers, like a 6.5 or something, because you'll never find large rifle primers.
Well, that's the new rifle I picked up is 5.56, so
Yeah.
easy.
Well, for me, during the annual preppers meet, I got to give my latest prepping item a test. I got a Pecron 2000 watt solar generator, and I brought that with me, and it worked really well, except for, I only just teased a little bit of its abilities because I use very little power from it, just charging phones and cameras and stuff like that. But so far, I'm quite pleased with it, but there's much more testing to be done, and yeah,
Good.
we'll just keep checking at her.
Good.
Excellent. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to the main topic of the annual Preppers Meet debrief. So I will turn the stage over to our resident expert and Grand Poobah Terry to let us know what went on, what he thought of it, and we'll pipe in as it goes.
Okay. Well, to start off with, the 2024 annual Preppers Meet was held at the Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club. It was a huge success. So on behalf of the annual Preppers Meet management team, all our fabulous presenters, excellent vendors, and enthusiastic attendees, I wish to pass on our sincere thanks to the members of the club for allowing us to use this fantastic facility. To Sandy Mayerly, most importantly, he worked tirelessly to ensure that the weekend was a complete success for us. He was always there. He was always helping us out. He just couldn't do enough for us. He's just a top-notch guy. And Bill, the president of the club, well, he was in the kitchen on the weekend, and he was cooked up these fantastic chicken dinners. And if any of you fellas had one, I know Eric and Gunny did for sure. Did Brad have one?
I didn't have one, but I could smell it, and then I had some of the leftovers the next day, and it was fantastic.
Oh, they were good. The food and beverages served by the club's hardworking volunteers were second to none. So thank you so very much for everything that you've done for us to make this a success.
I have a question, actually, and I'm not being a smart ass. I'm not being that guy, but a serious question. Is there actually a large Slovenian population around just north of Toronto there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I honestly, I had no idea. I just to have their own club, I thought that was pretty awesome.
If you've seen this place, you'd think, holy cow. And
it's been there for quite a while. A friend of mine, his brother-in-law is Slovenian and is, or at least was, a member and used to go there like all the time growing up. So it's not even just the ones that are like just north of the city. It's all the ones in the city as well that go up there.
Okay. No, it's interesting because I mean, that's about the last place I would have thought to look for a venue, but that's awesome that they kind of stepped forward and helped you out.
And yeah, it was an incredible venue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so next I'd like to, I got to do all my thanks here, right? So I got to give a huge thanks to all the annual Preppers Meet volunteers who worked hard to make this a memorable event for everyone. Now, much work is done behind the scenes to bring such an event to fruition. And again, thanks so much to everyone. And of course, the Canadian Prepper podcast was well represented at this year's event. We had Frugal Gunny, Eric, and Gavin putting on excellent presentations. And Jeff, Brad, and yours truly here. We were there. So there was a lot of us there, and it was good. And just to sum it up, for me, my favorite part of the event is the connections that you make when you go to these events. The people that you meet, the new friends, the friendships that are made, and that's the important thing in the prepping business is the contacts you make, I think. Now, our dear friend Frugal Gunny, he's not here tonight because he's away on business, but he asked me to pass on his thoughts on the event. So I'm going to pass on Gunny's thoughts. He said, great location, great facilities, on-site food is excellent and a great value, plenty of room for vendors and lots of opportunities to mingle with other vendors and the crowd. I had a blast during my presentation. Crowd interaction was fantastic. The attendees were fully engaged and had plenty of questions. So Frugal had a good time, and I'm pleased that he did. I thought he would fit right in there, and he was in there like a
A dirty shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
he was in there like a
Oh,
dirty
yeah.
shirt. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, did they had camping on site as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's cool.
Yep. RVs too as well, which is a new thing. We never used to have that on site in the past, and you could never keep your car on the campsite because we just didn't have enough room. So now you could keep your vehicle there. You could have an RV there, and it was pretty good. No hookups, so it was dry camping, but there was water and inside toilets and everything. It was pretty good.
Well, you don't know if
if
there's
you're,
no
if you're a
hookups.
prepper and you can't figure out the rest of that stuff, then yeah, you're probably
Well, that's
Probably in
not
the
wrong
right.
spot, yeah.
Yeah,
How
you don't-
quickly we get spoiled there going this year. It could spoil a guy, this place.
Well,
So,
to be fair, there might have been some hookups there, but not the type you're thinking of, though.
What happens at the preppers meet stays at the preppers.
Yeah, I mean, and like prepping for the next generation is some long-term prepping. Like that's some 5D chess right there, is what that is.
That's right.
Exactly.
And we do have a comment in the live chat from Prepper Girl. So just some feedback for you, Terry.
Good.
She said, we really need better microphones to hear the speakers. I'll agree with that one. I'm not sure if they fixed it a bit over the weekend, but it's one of those live and learn things. She says the venue was great. Food was fantastic. Could have used a couple of porta potties out the back of the property. So
yes, I agree.
Yep. So just some feedback there, which is great. If there's something that you felt was a little off, let Terry know. We can feed it through the podcast to him or through the like the Discord or anything like that. So she also says the sauna and the pool were pretty sweet. I didn't get to test the sauna, but I can agree on the pool.
Yeah,
yes,
I definitely had a dip in the pool just to like cool off because it's quite warm.
That sounds like some glamping going on. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, just to paint a better picture maybe for Ian. So it's quite a large property, like several acres easily. And they have like a chalet type building, multi-story, that had some bedrooms in the bathroom and all of that. And then like a giant Olympic sized or very close to it pool on the site. And then where the camping was is just big open grass fields that were nice and flat, which is good. And then it was sort of divvied up to like the RVs go over here, the tent camping goes over here, the quiet camping is over there.
Family camping on one side, and
the
festival camping on the other side.
Yeah,
and
the drunken idiots on the other. Yeah.
I thought it was really well. I thought it was really well laid out.
Yeah. So it was great.
Yep. Give us a little, if you wouldn't mind, Terry, just a bit of who was not who was presenting, but what kind of presenters we had there. Just for people who haven't been there, wondering what they could expect if they go.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll just say if you want to go to the Annual Preppers Meet website, annualpreppersmeet.com, the schedule is on there, because Alzheimer out here, you might forget a few things, but we typically have, your wild edible walks. Karen Stevenson does that, and she does a very good job at it. Sometimes we have other people, but Karen's usually a regular there. We usually always have some type of first aid presentation going on, and Gavin was our man this year with the Stop the Bleed. Sometimes we have other things going on. Brian Upton-Kelder, he's always there with a little bit. He's a self-defense guy. He does a little bit of self-defense introduction. Sherry D, another one. She tends to cater to the ladies' side of preparedness. She did urban preparedness this year, and she's really good at what she does. Let's see, we had a lady there giving us an introduction to pressure canning. It was really interesting. I didn't get a chance to sit in on everything, but it was really interesting. And
I'm really sad I missed that one. I really wanted to see that one, but
yeah, it was good, Jeff. You would have liked it. And of course, our man Frugal was there with his overloaded Toyota pickup with all his gear in there, spread it all across the 5 acres of the property, and telling everybody about it. But yeah, he was good, and he had the crowd hopping, and he was just enjoying himself there. He was having a great old time. And what else did we have? No, got to refresh me. We had some interesting speakers.
Jody Rogers did.
Jody
the,
Rogers,
essential
she does
oils.
essential oils. She was there talking about essential oils and things. Let's see. We had
Eric did his ham radio stuff.
Oh, yes, Eric did the ham radio. We had another fellow, Eugene,
Yes.
from the Cambridge Ham Radio Club, and he was there. He was set up all weekend. You could stop by any time and listen in on conversations on the shortwave. So it was pretty cool.
What about
interesting
the main
speakers? Sorry?
Who was the guy
The
doing
main speaker?
nods?
Pardon? Yeah, Brett?
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to ask about the main speaker.
Well, our main speaker was a lady. She was from Ukraine, and she was part of the civil defense group in Ukraine. She was in the police force and so on. And as things were ramping up to when Russia invaded there, she was trying to warn people. We really should get out of here and prepare and so on and so on. And nobody listened to her. It sounds kind of familiar, right? She was fascinating to listen to. She was pretty thick accent. She was a little hard to understand. You really had to listen. And, there's always a bit of background noise and so on. But it was a fascinating conversation. And then some of her experiences in trying to move her and her family to safety out to get them out of Ukraine while this was all going on, and some of the experiences, like it was pretty eye-opening talk. I really enjoyed that. I thought she'd be a good speaker. Shay and I went and spoke with her back in the spring before this even happened, and as soon as we listened to her, what she had to say, we thought, oh yeah, we got to have this girl here. She's got something to present, and it was a good chat.
Excellent. Yeah, I kind of caught a bit of the same chatter online, and there were some not nice comments made, and it's like, guys, that's not what's going on here. It's about I can see this coming. I know this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is what you need to do. You need to wake up and pay attention and listen. And so,
Yeah. Some folks really need to read the presentation details before they start flapping their yaps. But
funny how there's a lot of information in the details, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or even if you ask somebody to hold off on questions so you're done your presentation, and then it answers most of the questions people are going to ask anyways.
Oh yeah. But I just found that people on the internet, and especially for things like that, where like we're not pushing aside. Like, I mean, obviously, as a person picked a side and they were for one side or the other, but that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't learn from them.
That's right. You can.
And if anything, like those are the people you generally want to try and learn from the most, because if they're the enemy, right, for lack of a better term, you maybe want to hear what they have to say so that you know what their plans are and everything else. Just I don't know, maybe that's just me and the way my brain works, but
or Sun Tzu, one of the
yeah, exactly, right. Like, not that I'm claiming to be on his level or anything, but yeah.
Sit back and listen before you pass judgment. Really, really sit back and listen.
And if you really feel strongly about it, it's really easy. Just FO. Don't listen, right?
Yeah. But again, Ukraine, once you start talking about that, politics comes into play and emotions are triggered and so on and so on. But, that was not the intent of that. I think it came off well, and I think people were well behaved through the presentation, and there was questions and so on, and it was pretty well done, all things considered. Yeah,
well, I was only able to be there Thursday and Friday. I've already penciled it in for next year.
Oh, yes.
I will reiterate Terry's comments about the venue was great. Our host, Sandy, he was phenomenal. The food was great. The venue was big. It was clean. Even with all of the people there and everything. And of course, the pool, and there were lots of rooms inside. If the weather would have been bad, it wasn't, thank goodness, to do indoor presentations and things like that. So yeah, I was greatly impressed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was my first time ever attending that event, and I had a blast. From the moment I got there to the moment I left, everyone was very friendly, inclusive. I don't even know who they are. I met a bunch of people there Friday morning, came down to get coffee with everybody else, trying to still figure out how all this worked, and sat down with Jeff and Eric and had coffee, and there were plenty of people talking about plenty of different things, and it almost felt like you could hop into any conversation and nobody be pissed off that you hopped in there. Everybody was really nice. You could also tell that, me being the first time there, lots of the people there had been there for years, and it's like they were having a family reunion. Camping with two purposes, so to speak: one to meet up with friends, and one to listen to some new presenters and new vendors to see and buy this, that, whatever. And I thought it was absolutely great. This is definitely something that I'm going to go to for years to come. I talked to Chi at one point, and I didn't know that he had already posted or kind of figured out what the dates were for next year, but I've already got them in my calendar, because my boss, every beginning of the year, January 2nd, 3rd, whatever, he puts out a notice. If anybody knows exactly what dates they want off, book them now. Well, I'm one of those. I know exactly what date I want off. I'm booking it now. Plenty of vendors selling a variety of goods and services that were there. Terry, like you said about the keynote speaker, I thought all the presenters were definitely well chosen for their knowledge on a wide range of subjects being discussed. The pool was awesome. I won't doubt that. That was awesome. The grounds were well managed. Like, everything looked very clean. Very clean, very spacious, plenty of room, lots and lots of room for additional people to come and enjoy everything that place has to offer. Food was great. Staff and volunteers were awesome. That clubhouse, like you said, Jeff, is huge. With the fact that they've got 2 or 3 minimum different places that you could present something if the weather was bad. Even you could even use the stage for a small gathering, whatnot, right up on the stage out of the weather. Like I said, everything was clean. Everywhere you looked, there was a garbage can. There's a number of smokers that were there, me included, but yet I never once saw a cigarette butt on the ground.
That's good.
Exactly.
I thought Sandy was phenomenal. He and I had some really good conversations about what to do for next year, kind of thing. I've done a lot of event stuff in my background over the years, so we had some good conversations about what to look at, what to include, and what to think about for next year. And I'm, even though it was only a week ago, I'm waiting for next year to see what they've done and see how it goes and see what it looks like for next year. But I was really, really impressed with it. Had a fantastic time.
So, did you guys secure the same venue for next year?
Well, it's not nailed down yet, but I'm about 99 and 9/10% sure that that's where it's going to be.
All right. And Prepper Girl says, do you happen to have the dates?
Oh, Brad has them written down.
July 10th to the 13th.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will make note of that and for sure put it up in the show notes as well.
As per Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree pretty much with everything that you guys said. The venue was unbelievable. Exactly kind of what I, would have figured. And it was my first year attending and presenting. So as Terry mentioned earlier, I did the Stop the Bleed presentation. So if you were there, thank you for attending and listening to me talk for 45 minutes or so. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you will never need to use the thing that you learned. But, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to the show and they will get a hold of me, or you can reach out to me on my show, or I guess technically Andrew's show, but he hasn't been on in a while. But the Canadian Patriot podcast, you can get a hold of me there, or through Ragnarok Tactical if you got questions or you need to buy stuff. But yeah, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. And I will absolutely echo like Brad's sentiment there that it felt like a big family reunion kind of a thing. Like, and it was sort of weird because I mean, I don't do this show that often, but I guess often enough, and because of all the overlap, my name gets mentioned. So it was weird that people knew me there that I had never met,
Yes.
and I'm still not used to that. Not that it happens that often because I'm like some mega celebrity, but amongst a very small crowd that is very niche,
Yes.
people know me, and it's still really, really weird. But it was awesome because even though it was my first time being there, and I mean, obviously, this podcast being incredibly well represented there, it just made it feel like, even though it was the first time being there, that we were already at the family reunion, and it was family, right? Which was a nice little touch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I just added the dates to my calendar, so hopefully I will also be there.
Mhm.
I will
Good.
happily present the same thing or other things of which I've got a lot of interest and knowledge in, hopefully to impart onto others. We can talk about that, Terry. Don't worry. But even if I'm
Oh,
not
yes.
presenting, I will plan to be there. And
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and I mean, I guess some of the best parts are that just sitting around talking with people. And I don't want to like out anyone, but some of the campfire conversations were absolutely fantastic, but also hilarious
and lit. Yeah.
Yeah. I love all of you preppers, but man, some of you guys are wild. Like,
yeah.
I like a good tinfoil hat, just like the next guy, but woo, yeah, some of them were just a little bit out there. But I appreciate all of you.
Well, that's it. Takes all kinds to make a world, and
yeah. But
that's
yeah,
what it
sitting
is,
by
right?
that fire with Brad and Jeff and Eric and the other people was probably the highlight
Oh,
of my
absolutely.
weekend, anyways.
You know what they say, the difference between a conspiracy theory and a headline is, right?
Yeah.
6
And
months.
you know, the funny thing about life is these last couple of years I've come to believe that, man, things I would have discounted a few years ago,
Yeah.
you just never know anymore,
Yeah.
do you? Because things are
That's
happening,
true.
and yeah, you just never know. I listen to
Yeah.
anybody and everybody, and never say never, because you just don't know. You just don't know anymore. You can't believe half of what you hear or see anymore. So, anything's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a great old time, and again, it was our first year at this venue, and we'll learn a lot from this experience. Yeah, I know we had sound system challenges, and we did discuss putting a few outhouses out in the field. They're bloody expensive, for those that don't know, bloody expensive.
Yes, they are.
And we kind of defaulted to the fact that, okay, we got flush toilets in the building, and yeah, we're probably going to be okay compared to what we're used to in the past, where we only had outhouses, and that's all we had. So we thought, well, we'll try it out, and anyway, live and learn. But yeah, next year, that's something else we'll discuss. And we've already started thinking about what we're going to do for next year and what we learned from this year. So
Good.
Just in case, get real friendly with people with trailers that have toilets on the trailer, and then you're good.
Yeah, well, that helps too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, well, we learned a lot. That it was a great venue, and I think we can only get bigger and better from here, because again, we learn a little bit every year, and we're always looking for feedback and what people would like to see for future events. Don't be shy to put it out there.
Prepper Girl's got a good comment there. We could use a loudspeaker to announce what event or speaker is coming up, and I agree with her.
Yes. We fell down there so many times on that, and that's something we really need to do. Is we need to introduce our next speaker, or have the speaker that's winding up announce the next speaker or something. But that's something we've already figured out. We got to discuss and do better in the future.
Print off a pamphlet where, when you go and get registered, everybody gets the pamphlet, and these are the speakers, times, and where they're presenting.
Yeah, sometimes there's a little confusion as to where something was happening. The funny part about it, and until you do these things a few times, you come to realize that you can print that schedule up, and something goes wrong. Somebody, the last minute, cancels out, or they can't show up, or they're late arriving, or whatever. It's a challenge to put a printed schedule out and stick to it.
Yes.
Sometimes the timing's off. It's just very challenging, but
at least
we
it
gotta do
gives a
better.
rough idea of what's
Yeah.
going to happen next and where, so
Yeah.
you can again be prepared to get to that place.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And the nice thing about this place is most everything's in that same little area. Sometimes it was inside, sometimes it was outside, but most things were in that same area, which makes it easy there rather than being spread around.
We'll just have to get you a giant whiteboard or a giant chalkboard that you can write on. And then that way, if there are changes, you just kind of wipe it out and put the new one in. But
this is the latest gossip.
But I'd say, most people just kind of sat in that sort of picnic table area because it was presenter after presenter after presenter after presenter for the most part. So they kind of just parked themselves for the day and sat and listened to all of it.
And the beauty was the food is like literally right off the back.
Right,
drinks are there. The pool's right there. Like you can actually hear a presenter from sitting in the pool, and so
or at the food venue, and it was reasonably shaded. It was pretty good.
Yep. Nothing is perfect, especially the first time you're at it. So that's Terry made the comment.
Yeah.
We're learning. We're picking up ideas. Feedback from listeners is great. People who were there. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. You just have to go with it. But saying that for the first time at that venue, it was really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I mean, as somebody also that runs a lot of events, nothing of this size, at least not for quite a while, volunteers. So if you want to make the event better, giving feedback is really awesome, and it really does help. But also volunteer, help out while you're there. Even if it's just for a short period of time, it gives everybody that much. Just Terry needs a break too, right? Like if he's busy running things all day, the next day he's tired and is burnt out and still needs to do it. So if you can give someone even an hour break to just like sit by the pool and have a margarita or eat or do something that's not, I need to be on as the organizer.
Yeah.
Helps,
Yeah. We were a little light on help this year. And that was obvious. We're a little light, but things only get better. That was such a great spot and things went so well that I'm really, really, really positive about anything that should happen in the future. So,
well, I will be happy to help out next year, Terry. Don't you worry.
Go on. I've got thoughts for you already.
Well, we got plans for you. Yeah.
We have a podcast for you.
That's why I'm here.
I got Jeff's shirt. I don't know
He's,
how I ended up with it, but I did.
Is he going to lead the greatest game challenge, or what's that?
Yeah. I mean, I could teach some fun courses out there for people.
I bet you could. Yeah. So if anybody has comments, don't be shy to put them on our Facebook page. If you don't do Facebook, you can always send them in to info@annualpreppersmeet.com and just put your comments in there and what you like or don't like. Just any means to give us feedback is always welcome, because we learn from everything and nobody's perfect. We make our mistakes and we do what we think is right, and sometimes it's not always the right thing. And I blame the white hair for most everything that I do wrong.
Anything else from any other panelists or anybody in the live chat? Any other questions, comments, things you'd like to know about the show? Speak up now.
I think we're good.
Or forever hold your peace.
Yeah. Exactly.
And don't blame me.
Wait till next year.
What you want doesn't turn out. Because you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Feel free to toss out suggestions for things that Jeff and Brad could also talk about and present. They got to get their, presentation badge.
Yeah, that's true too, right?
Yeah.
That's true too.
You could do a whole thing on the weather.
Yeah. Hey, I said the weather was going to be good, and up till Sunday it was good.
Great.
That's another nice thing about that property there. That ground there is so sandy, it absorbed those monsoons like a sponge. You would have never knew it rained 10 minutes after it rained. It
Yep.
was fantastic that
Yeah.
way. There was no camping in the mud there. It was great.
And one thing we forgot to mention, the Canadian Preppers Network just mentioned it. You had a raffle. The raffle was awesome.
Oh, the raffle was awesome. And while you're here, go to, if you don't already belong to Canadian Preppers Network as a group to belong to, go and sign up with old Dean's network. Dean was a big help to us this year. And he donated a pair of Baofeng walkie-talkies or shortwave radios to the raffle. Really nice value. Thank you very much, Dean. And he helped us out with everything this weekend. He was just a force to be reckoned with. He was always there helping out. He was a good guy. So join the Canadian Preppers Network. Show Dean some love.
All right. Well, with that, shall we move into the podcast challenge? Terry, you're up again.
Oh boy. Okay, so the podcast challenge this time is to make plans to attend next year's annual Preppers Meet, July 10th to 13th, 2025. Mark it in your calendar, your date book. Send reminders everywhere. And you know, and keep an eye on the Facebook page if you don't already follow it. If you don't do Facebook, check into the website annualpreppersmeet.com once in a while and see what's going on. And we'll start adding stuff as time goes on. Be patient though, because you know, Facebook pages update a little more regularly. But we'll just keep an eye on us, and of course I'll get on here and flog it too. So pay a listen to the annual or to the Canadian Prepper podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should add that as a weekly little spot. Anyways, upcoming events, Ian.
Yeah, so we've got the Orangeville Gun Show happening July 28th. Link will go in the show notes as well as the commentary here momentarily. And not to leave Western Canada out, the Calgary Militaria Show has a antique and gun show happening August 10th in Olds, Alberta. So if you're in either section of the woods there, you can check out those and maybe find some hand tools or other tools of some sort.
Right on.
All right, so I'll do a quick weather blurb. So we kind of talked about the flooding and that. So it's been an active couple of weeks. We've been seeing almost daily enhanced risks of severe storms throughout Canada and the U.S., mostly in the areas of the Ohio Valley, deep southwestern Ontario, the Great Plains like Iowa, Illinois, those areas. I went on today to check the drought map for the U.S. and literally right up the middle of the U.S. There's no doubt at all, because that's where all of the storms have just been funneling up and basically following the pattern of the jet stream, and it really hasn't changed for a long time. But that being said, it has changed. Right now we're in a bit of a lull for severe weather. We haven't had an enhanced risk for a couple of days, and I'm not seeing anything for the extended period. Doesn't mean there's not going to be rain. Doesn't mean there's not going to be pop-up thunderstorms that may or may not approach severe levels. But the chance of extreme weather like tornadoes and that is very, very low at the moment, and will be for probably several days, if not a week or so. While the hurricane season started off hard and fast, with Hurricane Beryl being the earliest Category 5 ever recorded, since that, nothing of relevance has happened, which I'm actually kind of surprised about. All of the conditions are there. The atmospheric conditions are there. The temperatures of the ocean are there. Everything's there. Just storms are just not popping up. There are two possible chances for something to develop in the Eastern Pacific, so off the west coast of Mexico and that. But at this point, I would really be surprised if they developed into anything. There are early indications that we may possibly see a start to some tropical activity in the Atlantic later on in the week. Again, it's just a possibility. There's nothing there yet. Like I said, all the conditions are there. We'll just have to see what happens. I'll keep updating the Discord. There's a section there, either under the general weather or the hurricane, where I'll pop stuff up. Just because there hasn't been any activity lately does not mean you shouldn't already have your preps ready and be able to go. I know there were a couple of a comment on the live chat from, let me find it here again, from Hebrew Hammer. And he said he survived Hurricane Andrew in 1992. And he says one must be prepared for the civil unrest. 22 days of no power riots. Thank God we prepared for the worst. So there you go. You're prepared. You come out the other end most of the time. If you're not prepared, you're taking your chances. So, you know, I always use that motto. Don't be scared. Be prepared.
Yes.
Deal of the week, Ian.
Yeah, so Bass Pro Cabela's, they have various tents that would fit nicely into a bug out bag or for an annual preppers meet. They're 33% off currently. Link will go in the show notes as well. I'm going to throw it on the commentary. But yeah, so anywhere from like 2 to 4 person tents, basic models, but cheap enough that it's there's no excuse not to have one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Excellent. And I put, I thought I had it in here. Maybe I didn't. Rona has some generators on sale. So if you're looking for some Furman generators, that's the kind that I run. Eric has one. Brad now has one, thanks to me. Just kidding.
I have two.
He has two. Some people don't like them. I don't know why. I've never had an issue with mine except the battery went dead. It's going to happen to anything, not just the generator. So if you're interested, go have a look there. Shout outs.
yeah, just got one for Terry for organizing the APM. Much appreciated. It's very much a thankless job when you organize those things, and like Gavin mentioned before, you don't get to enjoy it like everybody else. So hats off to you, sir.
Oh, it was fun. I had a good time, actually. Ate too much. Maybe enjoyed too many beverages. But
Never too many beverages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess when you have to get up at 5 a.m, yeah, there is, but
yeah,
yeah.
that was
It's
good.
fine.
It was very good. Thank you.
Well, with that, I guess I will bring episode 243 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Please submit a review. It encourages the algorithm to promote us, letting other people find the show.
And we record these shows live on YouTube, Facebook if you must. If you want an early peek at the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, then click the notifications tab. That gives you an alert when we are going live. You can contact me at batbradcpp@gmail.com.
You can reach me, Gavin, at ragnaroktactical.ca. You can also find me on Canadian Patriot Podcast. It records live on Monday nights on YouTube, or Instagram at UrbexGTA. And if you need medical supplies and stuff like that from Ragnarok Tactical to beef up your Stop the Bleed kit, use the code Gavin10 to give yourself a little bit of a discount at checkout.
Gavin 10. Need to write that down.
Gavin 10. Excellent. If anybody wants to reach me, I'm not adult enough to have my own email, so it's feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
And for me, you can reach me on the annual Preppers Meet Facebook page, or if you don't do the Facebook, just my email at terrylblackmore@hotmail.com.
All right. Yeah, you can reach Ian directly by emailing me at theislandretreat@gmail.com. You can also find myself and Gavin. We mentioned Canadian Patriot Podcast live on YouTube, Monday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern, as well as on iTunes under the podcast app. Plus the Gilded app for CPP. We have a little channel on there. There you can find us discussing why government waste and the general degradation of society has been scheming to get to the next prepper meet.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, quote me if I'm wrong, Gavin, you're more like this. The Gilded app is no more because of their stupid rules.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so Discord, I guess.
Yeah, back on the Discord because of the Roblox and the groomers and all of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, join the Discord again for all of the dankest memes.
Excellent. Stuff that got me kicked off from before.
Yeah, if you don't understand what that means, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't dig about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
And keep learning.